everyone. If you are logged on, start putting your name in the comments so we know that you're here. Hey guys, hey Sierra. Hey Brandon. I always have to remember what your username is. How was your guys' weekend? Hey Jay Clark. Hey, hi. I was just asking how everybody's weekend was. So nice yesterday. Good. I'm glad it's good. Hi, Haley. Hi, everybody. Hi. Mine was good. Thank you. Yesterday I got to have tacos, which was great because I really love tacos. Also my baby shower was supposed to be yesterday and we canceled it because we didn't want, obviously we're trying to practice safe social distancing, but my family showed up and surprised me, which was really sweet. We sat like in a big socially distant 6 foot apart circle in our backyard. And so that was really sweet. So I had a good weekend. But if you're just jumping on, I'd love to hear how yours was. Hey, Jesse. Who else is here? Hi, Rob Graham. Hi, Brian. Hi, Hodleys. If you're just getting on, I just asked how everybody's week or weekend was. I don't know about today. I didn't do much today because it's been rainy. Did anybody watch anything? That's a really good question, Haley. I haven't watched a whole lot lately because it's been nice out. All-American. Worked on the pool. Brian, I hope that it is less of a mess soon so that you can enjoy it when it gets warm. I'm really jealous. I feel like I keep thinking about wishing it was warm so that I could go in a pool because it just sounds really nice right now. You got sunburned, Dave? I was outside a lot, but I didn't get sunburned. I guess if you were working on your driveway, right? We are watching Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. I have not watched like all of it because there's so much of it. But hey Emily. Hey hi Bryn. Is anybody else watching anything? Anything good? Trying to think. I feel like I haven't been watching a whole lot lately. Hi, Allie. Recently, Chris and I watched, ooh, you went in the lake? Yeah, I bet it was cold. Recently, Chris and I have been we rewatched the first and second Aladdin. I don't know if you guys have ever watched more than the original Aladdin, but we also watched Return of Jafar. And Chris was not thrilled with me because I was very critical of Return of Jafar because it is not the same quality as the original Aladdin. So I hate to break that bad news to you if you haven't seen it. But the animation is not as good. The songs are like, eh. It is no Frozen 2, I will tell you that. Hi, Alec. just a reminder, if you know of anybody that you don't see here that you think should be on and watching, you can tell them to go to meethope.org/SNL and it'll bring them right to our YouTube page. Also, if you don't subscribe to our YouTube page, you should, because we're at 75 subscribers, which is awesome. And if we get to 100, I get to change our YouTube link to youtube.com/myhopeyouth. But I can't change it until we have 100 followers. Frozen 2 is good, Dave. Just catching up on that. Yes, they did. You're right, Jake. That is very true. When I was a kid, I thought that all the spinoffs were great, but Meredith, Frozen 2 is the best Frozen, except for that Kristoff ballad. I'm sorry, I know we're just never going to agree on that. Something else fun that I did this week was I just got some hair chalk from Amazon because I miss having like some color in my hair. I ordered it like a couple of days ago, and I can't dye color in my hair because I'm pregnant. So I'm going to put some hair chalk in my hair this week just for fun. So maybe you'll see me with some color in my hair. Live action Aladdin was good. That was fun. I think I remember there being dancing in it, so I think I liked that. Frozen 2 is hot garbage. That is quite a description, Dave. Hot garbage. It's very adamant. Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 was rough. I'm not gonna lie. The plot was slow going. I feel like Toy Story 4 could have happened in about 15 minutes, and they made it last an hour and a half. That's my dog. Allie Kukless, how did the beet juice and carrot juice go? I don't know if your parents want to know this, but you can also use Kool-Aid. That's what I did when I was younger. But if your mom or dad says no, don't do that. No. Toy Story 4, I felt like it was hot garbage. Chris liked it. There's like the nostalgia of it, but like the plot is like, and those like mannequin dolls are so terrifying. Those like, I forget what they're called. Yeah, oh, that's good to know, Allie Kukless. I'm glad. I don't think I'd want my hair to smell like beets and carrots either. I haven't seen Onward yet. I really want to watch it. So yeah, if you guys have thoughts on Onward, let me know. This is great. Does anyone else have any other suggestions to watch? Hi, Beth, sweetie. Glad you're here. Glad you were able to get on. Well, it's good to know Onward was free. Last I saw, they had like released it, but it wasn't on Disney Plus yet. So I haven't looked at Disney Plus in a little bit, so we'll have to watch it. I like that Kevin's new name is Kevin Last. It's great. It can be like his alter ego. Hi, Micah. Have you guys seen the original Dr. Dolittle? Not the original, but like the 90s Dr. Dolittle with Eddie Murphy? Because that's the one I grew up on, so I have weird feelings about a new Dr. Dolittle. Just like the new Jumanji. Like, I couldn't watch it because I was like, this isn't the Jumanji that I know. Hi, Hope Furlow. You have all the candy for us. We miss coming to get candy from you, Hope. What is your favorite candy to go get from Hope's desk on Sunday nights? Mine is Starburst. If you're telling me the new Jumanji is really good, have you seen the old Jumanji? Because I need to know if you've seen both. Because if you haven't seen both, you can't tell me the new one is good. Pink Starburst. Now I really want Starburst, guys. It's a problem. I still have Reese's peanut butter eggs on my counter. Chris brought me like a big bag for Easter, so that's what I'm working on still. Hi, Allie Bruner. All right. Maybe I'll give the new Jumanji a try. I'm gonna need recommendations for things like when I have a baby and I'm like up at 2 a.m. need something to watch. So, if you have anything, give them to me. So, hey, Gavin. It's okay. We're just getting started. We haven't started. We're just talking. We're just hanging out. So, it's okay. We're talking about shows we like and movies we like. Oh, yeah. I know a few people that have watched all the Marvel movies. Faith, do you have a favorite Marvel movie? Bryn. I plan on doing that too. I very much plan on that being part of it. Yes, Robin Williams was in the old Jumanji. I do love Star Wars. It is good. Yeah, we watched The Mandalorian. That was also really good. These are some great suggestions, you guys. I know Mandalorian is a touchy subject, Jack Salvo. I know it goes either way. Chris really likes anything Star Wars, so we watch all of it. Like, he's really into Clone Wars. If you can look over there on my wall, we have 3 Star Wars posters right there. And I like them because they're kind of like artsy, and Chris likes them because they're Star Wars. And I love Baby Yoda. I have a Baby Yoda sweatshirt, so maybe I'll wear it one week while I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, Baby Yoda was the best thing to come out of The Mandalorian. Not gonna lie. So, all right, well, I'm going to get started with you guys for this week, but feel free to keep throwing in what you're watching in the comments because I would love to go back later and look up all the stuff that you guys are suggesting. Bryn, looks like you have a lot to go look up too. So, that's a mandolin. Sorry, one more comment. Bryn, that's a mandolin. So, yeah, all right. So if you have any other suggestions of things to watch, throw them in the comments. I'd love to go back later and look up what you guys are suggesting because I really trust you guys with directing me in the right direction for things to watch. So that being said, we are doing a series on the book of Job. Last week, Dave kicked us off, and we've been talking about what to do when you don't know what to do, which is really appropriate for us right now because we only know what to do. Like, some weeks it feels like we only know what to do like a few days at a time, and sometimes it's like a weekend at a time. and things change, and our plans have changed. And so we've been talking about that, and we've been looking at the book of Job. So last week, if you remember, Dave looked at the first 2 chapters of Job. Job is 42 chapters, and Dave looked at the first 2, and he told us about who Job was. So Job he was a good guy. He was very righteous, which means that he honored God with his life. It means that he tried to do good all the time. It meant that he was like an upstanding person with good character and good integrity. And so that is kind of a little bit about who Job was. And he was also faithful to God. God deemed Job as someone that was really faithful to him. And what we learn is that Job all of a sudden had to start dealing with a lot of stuff. And Dave used the expression that life handed him a lot of lemons. And so there's that really cliche phrase, like, when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. And so Dave talked about like what happens when life hands us lemons that we like don't expect at all. And so we we're going to keep looking at Job this week. So I got the fortune of talking to you about almost all of Job. So like I mentioned, Job is 42 chapters. Dave got the first 2. I got chapters like 3 through 39. And then next week, Dave is going to tell you about the rest of Job. So because we don't have a ton of time together, and I don't want to put you to sleep or have you log off and be bored, I am going to summarize for you what happens in the book of Job. Now, the book of Job is a really dense piece of story and scripture in the Bible. And so I would encourage you to read it if you ever are curious more about it. But I'm going to summarize it for you because that's the best way to help you kind of understand what we're talking about tonight. And so what I want you to know before I kind of summarize it for you is that even in all of Job's suffering, he tries really, really hard to stay faithful to God and to still find hope in God, even when all kinds of bad stuff happened to him. So if you remember in the beginning of Job, he lost like his family and his home and his land, and like he lost everything. And what happens is he still tries really hard. And something else I want you to remember as we talk about Job tonight is that God's greatest desire for us is to be in relationship with him. And I know that I've talked with you guys about this before recently, like probably in like February. I remember standing in the chapel preaching to you guys and talking about how much more than anything else, God's desire is for us to be in relationship with him. And we get to see that in the book of Job. So we're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to try and summarize Job for you. I'm going to share with you about the way Job is written and what that means for us. And then because Job is all about suffering, we're going to talk a little bit about how to help out each other when we're suffering and we're going through a hard time. So here's what happens in the book of Job. So Job he's feeling a lot of feelings, which is okay because he's lost everything. He's lost everything he's ever known. And he's allowed to have all of the feelings about that. He's sad and he's angry and he's confused and he's feeling lost and he's feeling like, why is this happening to me? And he's trying to figure out what's going on. Like, why? I'm a righteous person. I try to do good. Why is this happening? And so he has some friends that come by, and his friends basically try to explain to Job what is happening. So have you ever had something bad happen to you and someone tries to kind of like explain it for you because they think it will help, and it like usually doesn't help, but they try. So Job's friends start to try to explain to Job like why this is happening. And it's not really helpful, mainly because they tell Job that the reason all this is happening is because he must have done something wrong. So Job's friends believe that if you do good, if you're a good person and you do good things, then you always have good things happen. And if you're a bad person and you do bad things, then you'll always have bad things happen. And what we know, if you've been alive for like not even that long, you know that's not always that's not how it works at all. You can be a really great person and have really hard stuff happen. And so Job continues throughout the entire book to protest and say, like, no, I'm innocent. I am righteous. I am faithful to God. I try to do good, and that I haven't done anything bad. That can't be the reason that all this has happened. And so eventually he and his friends kind of go back and forth, and eventually he kind of just ignores them completely, and he directs his questions at God. And he says to God, he kind of like stands up for himself and makes a case for himself, like, I'm innocent, and why is this happening? And he kind of just like throws all of his feelings at God. And then all the way in chapter 37, so God, you don't hear from God like for all of this time. And then all the way in chapter 37 or 38, I forget where it starts, but in one of those two, God speaks. And God basically is like, hold up, Job. Let me tell you about who I am. And what God does is God doesn't offer Job an explanation as to why all this is happening, which is what Job has been like asking. Everyone's been asking, like, why is this happening? And because God is God, he doesn't give Job the reason, but instead God tells Job, like, Job, you are only able to see like this much because you're Job, you're a human being, and your life is this big compared to the entire world. And I'm God, and I can see like the complex universe that we live in. I can see all of it. God says he has his eye on everything. And so he kind of tries to say to Job, like, there's no way you can understand the complexity of who I am. And that's kind of where that section of Job ends. So we will talk about the rest of Job next week, but that's a summary of all that section. And so here's what I learned from this and what I want you guys to know too about it. So like I just mentioned, Job's story doesn't tell us why suffering happens. That's a really hard question that I get asked a lot, that I'm sure you guys ask a lot. Why do bad things happen? And God says, right, in the story of Job, that there's no way for us to understand the complexity and the hugeness of God, and how he understands how every little tiny animal functions and eats, and he understands the big grand things of the earth. So it doesn't tell us why. But something it does teach us is that it teaches us that we are allowed to ask questions. So the book of Job is a form of poetry. It's considered a piece of wisdom in the Bible. It's wisdom literature, and so all the conversations between Job and his friends are actually considered poetry. And so I really like art, and so I found this really cool when I found out about it. And what art usually does is it gives us a way to process our feelings. And so Job teaches us that we're allowed to have really strong feelings. We're allowed to be angry and sad, and we are better off when we say them out loud, when we put them out there, when we like process them, even if we don't come up with an answer right away. And so this got me thinking about what's going on right now. And one thing that I have noticed recently that I really love is some artists that I follow and like have been doing creative things to take people's stories of the suffering they're experiencing and helping them create something out of it and process their hard feelings and try to make sense of it. So one band that I really like, their name is Johnny Swim, and recently they've been doing it's called Songs with Strangers. And so what they do is like they go on Instagram Live with different strangers and ask them to tell them their stories, and in 24 hours they like write and compose a song. And then they wrote a song based on all these people's stories, and then they made a music video about it. And I watched it. It came out on Friday, I think, and I watched it, and I was just so touched by the way that someone who is gifted in art was able to take all of these feelings and turn it into something that kind of helps us process our suffering. And so if you look them up, it's called Johnny Swim. The song's called Wait. So if you're curious about the music video, it's really touching. So if you're curious about it, you can look it up. So Job teaches us how to put our feelings out there. And then Job also teaches us that even when we're having all those feelings, we should still go to God, because that's what Job does. Even after he puts all of his stuff out there, he still remains faithful by going to God. He tells God he's angry. He tells God he's sad. He tells God he doesn't understand, but he still goes to God. And the great thing about God is God knows that we're human, and he knows that we get angry and sad, and he knows that because he came to this earth as Jesus, and Jesus felt all those things, and Jesus experienced suffering and vulnerability, and so God wants us to know that he is big enough to handle all of that. I remember being your guys' age, and I read something, and I think it might have been the book of Job, that it was like the first time I realized that it was okay to like be angry and tell God about it. Because I think I felt like I'm not allowed to be angry with God because he's God, and then he'll be unhappy with me. But what Job teaches us is we can be angry and have hard feelings and be confused about why bad things are happening, and we can still trust God and be faithful to God and follow God. And so, and the best part about that is we talk a lot about talking to God just like you would a friend, or like talking to God like you would anyone that you are in relationship with in your life. And so, and that's a way for us to understand how to talk to God. And just like if you and a friend were having a hard time and you like weren't clicking, something was off, we all know that the best thing to do is to talk to that person about it. Our tendency is to talk to like 6 of our friends about it. Like, why is she being this way? Or why is he being this way? And I don't understand. And like, why doesn't he just do X, Y, and Z? Or why doesn't she get me? And really the best thing for us to always do is to talk to that person directly. And so Job demonstrates that by talking to God directly. And so I read this quote today that I also wanted to share with you that basically sums up Job really great. It says, Job shows us that saying hard and true things and asking real questions is part of being in relationship to God. They are not simply tolerated, they keep the lines of communication open when every other avenue is closed off. So Job teaches us to ask questions and to be in relationship with God. And because we just came off of Easter a couple weeks ago and we jumped into the book of Job, something else that I was reflecting on is that the story of Job, just like everything else in the Bible, if you look at it, the story of Job points us back to Jesus. It shows us the purpose of Jesus in our lives, because like I said, God desires more than anything else to be in a relationship with you. And that's why Jesus came, to be in relationship with us. And so because of Jesus, because I know what Jesus has done in my life, or because what Jesus has done in your life, I can choose to be faithful to God even when I have no idea what's coming next, because of Jesus, because Jesus gives me hope and comfort and peace and is our protector and our strength, and he teaches me about perseverance and endurance. And Jesus teaches me how to look beyond my little bubble to the rest of the world. And Jesus is able to restore my heart, even when I'm suffering. So I feel like I have a lot to tell you about Job, and I'm excited about it. So I hope you can hang in there with me for a few more minutes, because like I said, it's like a lot of chapters of Job. But so So Job teaches us so we can be faithful to God even when we don't know what's going on. And it teaches us how God desires to be in relationship with us. And then Job also teaches us how to help each other by not following the example of his friends. So one thing I want to encourage you guys tonight is I think we can be better than Job's friends. They were trying really hard. But what I know from personal experience, from working in counseling, from having suffering of my own, from helping other people who are suffering, is that in times of grief and despair and difficulty, it is rarely helpful when we try to explain to each other why something bad is happening. It's rarely helpful, but because we're human, we like to come up with an explanation. Because if I have an answer for you, then I won't feel so bad about the thing that's happening, or I'll feel like I could take care of you. So I want you to think, but I want you to think of a time that you've experienced like sadness or hardship, and think about what people have said to you that has really helped. And also think about what people have said that hasn't really helped. So like one of the phrases that I personally think doesn't help is being like, oh, well, everything happens for a reason. That usually doesn't really answer the feelings we're having. But saying like, I'm so sorry and I'm here for you. And yeah, it's really hard and I'm praying for you. And just choosing to listen to each other are usually better ways to support each other. So Job's friends do is they try to explain away like, clearly, Job, you did something wrong and you're a bad person and so a bad thing happened. And like that doesn't give Job the answer he needs. There's this other artist, talking a lot about artists tonight. She's a graphic artist that I like. And she has, I saw this card one time that it made me think of it because of Dave saying, when life gives you lemons. The card says, when life gives you lemons, I won't tell you a story of my cousin's friend who died of lemons. And what that means is that when someone's going through a hardship, it's usually not helpful for us to be like, oh, one time my friend's cousin's best friend also had that happen and it was really bad. That's usually not very helpful. But what is helpful is in times of suffering to not try and like manage each other, but to just choose to be with that person and to say, I'm sorry. And I'm here for you, and to listen to them. So the whole time Job is trying to get his friends to listen to him. He's just saying like, I just need you to listen to me. And that's ultimately why he goes straight to God. And so we can pray for each other, and we can listen to each other, and we can be patient with each other. We can give each other grace in hard times because we know it makes us act in all kinds of crazy ways. And we can be an example of faith to each other, because sometimes in our suffering and in our hardship, we do have those moments where we're angry or sad and it's hard for us to be faithful. But then when we have someone who stands next to us and says, it's okay, I'm going to keep being faithful for you, and I'll be here with you when, I'll pray for you, I'll pray with you, then it helps kind of, pull us along and back towards the light of God, even in darkness. So I know that was a lot of things. But the key things I want you to remember is that Job teaches us that God desires to be in relationship with us, no matter what, even when we don't know what's coming next. No matter what is coming next, we can always grow in our relationship with God. And also Job teaches us how to support each other, how we might support each other better in hard times. So, and, we're on week 7 of this, and I know it's weird and hard. And so I just have been praying for you guys, and I pray that you are being kind to each other, and you're giving each other encouragement, and you're offering grace to your siblings and your parents and your families and the people you're around every day, because I know that can get hard. But we're all just kind of walking through this together. So I am praying for you. And so you're going to head to your small groups in just a second. Dave's going to share the Zoom link with you. It also just went out on Remind. If you don't get Remind texts, you can sign up for them. If you go to meethope.org and you look under ministries, there's a button. You can sign up for Remind texts, or you can text me and I'll make sure you get them. So if you head over to Zoom, there's some questions that your small group leaders have based on everything that I shared with you tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there as you jump on. If you are done your small group and you still want to hang out, last week Chaz called it virtual snack, and I thought that was fun. I don't have snacks for all of you, but if you're looking to say hi and catch up, you can always hang out with us for a little bit on Zoom after your small group. So I'll see you guys over on Zoom. So you head over there. I'm going to watch the channel for a little bit to make sure that everybody gets over there. And I will see you there. And I hope you have a good small group. Bye. Bye, Allie. I'm getting on Zoom right now. I'm putting it into my phone. Let's see, 946. You're welcome. Bye. Bye, Maddie.
Allie, what group are you in? Mama and Kim. I'm with Jason.
Make sure when you get over on Zoom that you tell Dave what your small group is. Bye, Beth.
Am I in the wrong small group? Let's see. Wait, no, there's 17 people. I'm with Deidre and Alana.
Everybody's muted. Everybody, if you can type in the chat what group you're in, that would be helpful. So use the chat feature. There you
You're welcome, Jen.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, Mr. Dave. Hey.
Hi.
Because I'm in.
I'm muting you. I'm muting everybody.
Oh, sorry.
You should all be able to hear me. I am getting to you all. If I need to know what specific group.